On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
And usually they go to their mother.
Hold up, Mr. Lego. Let me add one thing. I just want to tell y'all.
Let me say this last part. This is important.
It's just a
Sorry,
statement.
one last thing.
Let him finish, please.
One last thing.
Logic, can you just hold on 1 second? He's in the middle of a thought.
Oh my God, bro! I'm just saying.
Can I finish just one last thing?
Logic, please.
Logic. I got one last thing to say that's important. In most cases, when the girl is sexually assaulted, she goes to her mother for protection, and her mother gaslights her and tells her either it didn't happen, or I'm gonna put you out if you tell anybody, or I'm gonna do something to you if you tell anybody, or she's gonna say, well, it's your fault. Now she no longer has that pair bonding, that oxytocin feeling from her mom, because she no longer feels safe, and she just got, abused by a male. So she doesn't know what the fuck to do about her life. She don't trust women or men.
Mr. Let Go, like based on what you just said, and I'm just trying to get more insight from your point of view.
Okay.
Do you think that has to do, like in terms of multiple partners now, do you think that the results, what happens to people and all of that has a lot to do with socialization or no? And what are your thoughts on attachment style?
Well, yeah, all that affects your attachment. It affects your attachment style. So when you're a child, of course.
Wait, before we go on, you said all that affects your attachment style, or do you think your attachment style affects all of that?
Well, it's both, because your attachment style can change. So you can be an avoidant attachment style as a child, but as you get older, if depending on your environment, if things change around you, your attachment style can change to a secure attachment style, because everything about life is about safety. That's why dudes pair bond with other men when they're young, because at the end of the day, they feel safe around their homeboys, not around a girl. But girls feel safe around their homegirls and not a guy. And as they get older, they want to pair bond with another guy. But usually little girls be with little girls, little boys and hang with little boys, because everything is about safety, especially when you're young. So your attachment style can actually change if you get a certain amount of protection from your friends and, as you get older, versus your mom making you feel unprotected. Does that make sense?
So in terms of men, you said that they feel more protected and safe with boys and men, in their younger years. What changes, or does it change?
Well, since they feel safe already, they now can move into an actual state of getting more, producing, because men are producers and protectors. So women want to feel protected. Men, once they feel protected from their homeboys, now they want to go and protect. Because
so they just shift kind of responsibilities, like
they
get what they need, and then they change over to wanting to provide something for somebody else.
Right. And sometimes women are the opposite. They don't get what they need, therefore they start looking for the same things that males are looking for, which is more of something in order to make them feel like better about themselves. And that's when the socialization actually affects the woman. Socialization actually affects women more than men.
I think it affects everyone, but what you're describing seems to be the ideal situation based on what you said. A man getting what he needs from his father, his male peers, all this growing up, and then eventually going on to be able to provide certain things for a woman, correct?
Yeah.
So what is the result if a man does not get those things? Like if they view other men as a threat of violence whenever they encounter them?
Well, then he goes into a shell and ends up growing or end up keeping his avoidant attachment style, and he just stays this avoidant incel where he can't, because this is what's crazy. If a man can't build relationships with men, he's not going to build relationships with women, if that makes sense. So we have to know how to make friends with other males in order to get women to, does that make sense? Because it all goes back to the inherent feeling of safety. If a man isn't safe in his life because he doesn't have friends, because all men go somewhere and feel scared when they by themselves. So if you're always by yourself throughout your whole young life, you're always going to be afraid, and then you're going to start turning into this either avoidant attachment style, like, you know, you just want to stay away, or this anxious attachment style where you're like, you know, and then you all over the place.
Insecure. Yeah.
Yeah. And both of those types of attachment styles aren't attractive to women.
So then it becomes like a cycle, right?
Yeah.
You know?
So if you can't pair bond with men, you can't pair bond with women. But when it comes to women, if you can't pair bond with women, you can't pair bond with men, and you just start just sleeping with men because you don't know how to pair bond with men.
Do men do that too? Just start, you know, going out in the world and getting with people if they don't have that strong foundation that you just spoke of?
Well, yeah, but one of the biggest differences between men and women is we know how women are because most of us grew up with our mother and not our dad. And we found our father figure somewhere in the hood. But with women, you grow up with a woman, which is your mom, but never understand males because you aren't going out in the hood being around males like males are. So a man is more balanced growing up, regardless of what his life is, because his mom gives him the feminine understanding of how women are. Then he goes out in the hood and gets the masculine understanding of where men are. But a woman gets the feminine understanding of how women are, but never gets the male understanding of how males are because she used to have to stay in the house.
So would you say that a man can get that masculine understanding of how men are if all the men around him are raised by women?
Yes, in some type of way, because remember, it's about protection. So you can join a gang and still get the oxytocin and the protection that you need, and you could be a whole hoodlum out here, but you still can get that balanced feeling of masculinity from men and protection.
Okay, but it's not necessarily a healthy representation of what you would deem as a healthy masculine relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. Yeah.
Do you think it's the same for women on the opposite side in terms of their bonding with other women?
Well, the problem is when you got a whole bunch of anxious women, because none of them or few of them have dads. We didn't have dads either. Few of them have dads. They're all anxious and they're all acting like their mother. And with most black women, they've been abused or treated like shit by their own mother. So they grow up not trusting their mother, which is not trusting women, and then not trusting men because 3 out of 5 women have been sexually assaulted by somebody that they know. And
so
usually,
men and women and boys and girls are
one last thing. And usually they go to their mother.
Hold up, Ms. Lego. Let me add one thing. I just want to tell y'all.
Let me say this last part. This is important.
It's just a
Sorry,
statement.
One last thing.
Logic, let him finish, please.
One last thing.
Logic, can you just hold on 1 second? He's in the middle of a thought.
Oh my God, bro! I'm just saying.
I finished just one last thing.
Logic, please.
Logic. I got one last thing to say that's important. In most cases, when the girl is sexually assaulted, she goes to her mother for protection, and her mother gaslights her and tells her either it didn't happen, or I'm gonna put you out if you tell anybody, or I'm gonna do something to you if you tell anybody, or she's gonna say, well, it's your fault. Now she no longer has that pair bonding, that oxytocin feeling from her mom because she no longer feels safe, and she just got, abused by a male. So she doesn't know what the fuck to do about her life. She don't trust women or men.